Pep's normally a bit obsessed with control and dictating play and that sort of thing. It seemed to be a bit more chaotic in the first half, and there's been a lot of disagreement online between City fans about Alvarez and his role at City. He obviously scored the first goal, won the penalty as well. He got an FPL assist for Haaland's goal, but not an actual assist. So he obviously was good from an output perspective. But the argument basically, Gasky, boils down to, is it wise to place Alvarez, who is a striker, a centre-forward, in the number 8 position, which is basically where he's being played? Because whilst he obviously does have the attacking output of a striker, which is good for, to have that in that midfield role, he's obviously not a Foden in that he's not as good at stringing passes together. He's not as good at taking it on the half turn. He's not as good when it comes to being calm and collected. And this has been the big talking point. How do you see it, Gasky? Do you think, well, Pep clearly knows what he's doing, don't worry about it, or but maybe Alvarez still needs to improve? What do you think about Alvarez being used like that?
I think when you've got the best manager currently, then you kind of have to give him, obviously, benefit of the doubt and be like, he obviously knows why he's playing him there. There's a reason why. Is it that he sees a longer future for Alvarez in that kind of area behind Haaland, maybe? He's scoring from there.
And getting assists from there.
But maybe it's like you said, when the ball is in that third, the centre third, is when you lack control because he isn't that type of player.
Yes.
And is that where they potentially misses someone like De Bruyne who controls the game, who's a bit deeper position. That's probably where the issue is. And who was in midfield with him?
So it was so Kovacic was next to him in the 8 role, and then behind was Rodri and Akanji.
Okay, so maybe it's just not enough control players there. Then maybe having Akanji the one that was kind of doing that Stones role.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so maybe the future when Stones is fit and he's back into that position, it'll might look better. But maybe it's it could be to do with just not having the stronger control players in the centre. Made it stand out that Alvarez isn't good enough there. But clearly one end he is, one end he's potentially not, but his job isn't that end. So to me, it's down to more the other players to kind of stand out, to do the part that you can't do, which is obviously, it's a weird one because you wouldn't imagine him playing there.
No.
And why is he even there anyway? Especially when you've got like Foden on the bench who you could just put in. But again, maybe he's that confident, Pep, of his squad that against teams like Fulham, he can go and experiment.
Maybe,
he seems to do every season. That's why they start slow, because he starts just trying different things, tinkering with the system, so then he can go on his little crazy run with what he likes the most. Yeah,
well, Grealish was ill, I believe. So Foden played out wide, firstly on the left, then he swapped with Doku. So it was Foden on the right for the most of the game thereafter. So I think probably ordinarily it would have been Foden alongside Alvarez, which is what we've seen.
But then would you not have just put Alvarez out wide and Foden in the middle?
He doesn't normally play Alvarez out wide, which is interesting. Yeah, he Pep sort of experimented with it a little bit last season. I think he came on the Community Shield right wing.
Tried to do what he did, because he did it with Jesus, didn't he, at the end of his City career, and he was quite good on the right.
Exactly, yeah. But with this new system, he's decided that actually the best position for him is in where De Bruyne plays, basically.
Yeah.
Or where Gundogan used to play, in that sort of role. And that's the thing, if we're comparing him, if we're calling it, the Gundogan role for the sake of this discussion, he's got the offensive output of Gundogan in respect to more so probably in terms of the goals and assists, because he is a striker, but he doesn't have that ability to collect the ball as Gundogan did and pass it.
He needs that protection behind him, whereas Gundogan could have done it himself.
Yeah, which makes sense because he is a 23-year-old striker being asked to play as an eight. In fairness,
which is quite impressive considering, though.
Yeah, and
it tells you how good of a coach Pep is if he can just come in and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's be honest, he also has to do that because City ain't going to play with 2 strikers up top with the ball, are we? We're not going to play 4-4-2. When we have the ball. So a two centre forward situation isn't really practical or possible for Pep. I think I agree with you guys. Yeah, I'm of the view that he's a very talented very young 23-year-old striker being asked to play as an 8/10. One of the harder positions for City. And yes, there is a lot he can do. Like, he isn't a midfielder. But I don't agree with, because some people on Twitter have basically just said he's not a midfielder, stop playing him there. I don't agree with that. I think that it will get better. And it's not even necessarily a bad thing right now. It's not like he's playing badly. It can be better, obviously. Like, he can improve, but he's a very young player, and he's only going to get better in that position if he's played in that position.
Put it this way, you can't be in a bad spot if you're beating teams 5-1 and then you're moaning about a player's position.
Yeah.
You know, it must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty chilled out about it. I don't really see it being an issue. I also think it was probably aggravated by the fact that there was no Foden in midfield. So it meant that because they've been building quite a nice relationship, Alvarez and Foden in the midfield. So I feel like maybe that was also a bit of an issue, because Foden is the player who can control it and take it on the turn in that respect.
Maybe that was where Pep learns that Alvarez relies on Foden in that midfield.
Potentially.
And goes, right, we won't do it again. But that's what you do. You got to experiment. There's no way of knowing. You can't know in training if that's going to work. You have to find it out in the game.
Yeah. But so, we shall see. But as you say, look, we won 5-1. Can't really complain. Haaland hat-trick. And
he's actually, people who said he starts slow, he's started exactly the same way as last season.
He hasn't he? Yeah.
So exactly the same. So
absolutely insane. I don't know if he'll be able to. I suspect that Haaland won't be able to keep up with the goals he did last season, because he got 3 home hat tricks in a row. But Haaland did slow down towards the end in terms of goal output. I think he'll be more consistent this season in terms of more like
you
goals in each
more
game.
1s and 2s than
exactly.
Just a big chunk out of the blue. Yeah,
that's what I think could happen, because I expect Haaland to score more goals this season, to be honest, if he plays a similar number of games, which is a terrifying prospect for the rest of the league. Is anything else interesting happening on the game? We touched on Doku. I think there'll be a game coming up soon where we can have a proper deep dive into him, because he's looks a really exciting player.
I think in the Champions League he'll stand out. Just because it's a lot more aggressive. Like European teams are a lot more. They'll just throw bodies forward, and he can just turn the afterburners on and do what he's known for. So I think that's where he'll stand out. But he's a very different type of winger than Pep's used to having.
Yes.
So on a very direct.
Yeah, and that's why it's exciting, to be honest. That's why it's exciting. Akanji in the Stones role, not his position, but again, he did it quite well. And last thing is very, very quickly to touch on Gasquet. I just thought it was funny that, how City normally start slow sort of thing. Walker came out and said, we had a discussion, and basically we decided that we're going to start the season really well and just try to be out of sight like in 2017. I just thought that was funny, because it's sort of like they're now deciding how they're going to win the title. I just thought that was funny.
At what point do you think that City will start to get treated like United did in like the end of the noughties, when you could just tell that pundits and presenters and stuff just got sick of it?